Good morning, or actually, I guess it's afternoon. Wow, time flies. And yes, it does fly because here we are at January 31st already. I can't believe it. It's just the older you get, I think the faster time goes, usually, unless you're looking forward to something and then time doesn't move, right? My name is Linda, and this is Heritage Trace Studio. Um, I am in the midst of my little studio mess here. And I was going to try to clean it up a little bit more before I started filming, but if I did that, I'd never get the filming done. So I decided that we needed to get busy. So I have today for you one finish, two new starts, a few whips, and some haul. I haven't had a haul like this for a while. I've been trying to be more mindful of my spending, but I do have a few things, excuse me, to share. I also have some thoughts that I wanted to share with y'all about our community and how important it is for us to have that community in these very distressing times. So I'm going to start off by showing you I don't do the book of days. I do the planner by My Crazy Life, Lori. And this was January. This was the first part. I make random notes over here. And I started doing like Sean, the periwinkle stitcher does. I started when I have a new fabric that I'm using for a project, or when I get done with some floss and still have the tag, I'm going to put them in my book. So this is for one of my starts. I'll share in a minute. And this is for a start that I actually didn't get started. So I'll talk about that too. It's a sal, and I've kind of backburnered sals for the time being. But here's the rest of my book. My little stickers. And when last I visited with y'all, I had planned on doing WhipGo again this year. And for those of you who may be new here, WhipGo is a version of Bingo that stitchers use to kind of help them plan what they're working on, what they want to work on, set goals, etc. And I did WhipGo last year and I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. It was a different approach for me because I tend to be a person who, when I'm stitching on something that I really, really like, I get very focused on it. And WhipGo, depending on how you set your goals, can encourage kind of movement from one piece to another to just get some progress on each piece. I like to see something finished if it's something I'm really enjoying. Excuse me. So I decided, I reevaluated as the month started and decided that I'm going to do a very different version of WhipGo this year. I had picked 4 main projects that I wanted to touch on in the month of January, and some small projects in case I had some time here or there. I was able to put stitches in on 2 of the big projects, and I was able to start and finish one small object, and that's what I'll show you here in a second. So as I go through these, I hope you find that you're enjoying it. Give me any comments that you might have to share. Have you stitched it? Are you planning on stitching it? Just, anything that you want to share is great. I love reading the comments. I hope that you'll like and subscribe. I have kind of a small channel right now, and would like to see it get bigger, but it is what it is. And size is not really my goal here. It is being able to connect with people and share what I'm working on and hear from y'all about what's happening with you. So, and actually, before I get too far into that, as I said, my name's Linda, and I've shared a little bit about me in the past. There are a couple of things I've never shared, I don't think. And that is, I never had kids, but I've had various fur babies over my life. And this is one of my fur babies. I hope you can see. That's Cooper. He's a Westie. He's my cherished little baby. He's 5 years old now and quite a character. We also have Max. And Max is a rescue. We think he's part Schnauzer. So last time we had him groomed, I asked her to trim him up like a Schnauzer. And I think he looks very handsome. He was a very raggedy mess before. I used to refer to him as my junkyard dog because he was found roaming around in the parking lot of a racetrack gas station convenience store. And pretty scraggly looking and very skinny and everything. Well, we have, made sure that he eats well, and he is a very, very intelligent animal. It fascinates me how quick they are. So that's Cooper and Max. Right now, they are locked out of my room because these are the only front-facing windows in the house, and they like to sit there and watch the world go by and sometimes yell at people who pass by their house. So let me jump into the stitching. The 2 new starts that I had this month, I know people don't usually start with starts, do they? But one of these, I'm sure you'll recognize from this picture, from this example. Isn't she lovely? Wait a minute, is that the way she goes or she? No, I had her upside down. Oh, mercy. Here she is. Okay, so yeah, I had her upside down. This someday will grow up to be Snow Queen by Mirabilia, and I have been wanting to start her for over a year, and I finally did it at the new year, and this is as far as I got, and I do plan to stitch on her more as the year goes on. When exactly, I don't know yet, but she was a new start. I'm sure most people have seen what she will look like one day, but I do have her chart envelope here. This is Snow Queen. Isn't she fabulous? Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And this is, see, I'm working on this rain, and it comes up in her hands, and then it starts down that way. And then the edge of some of the blue of her dress. Big progress, but it started. So that was a goal that I had set for myself for this year, to get her started. I don't know how long she'll take. I just hope I live to get her done. Okay, so that is, oh, and she's with all of the called for floss. That's my first new start. My second new start is Spring Swan. What did I do with Spring Swan's envelope? Where's it? Oh, here it is. With Thy Needle and Thread, designed by Brenda Gervais. Spring Swan. When I was a kid, there were swans in the pond at our city park, a pair of them. And then when I lived in Boston for so many years, of course, there were the swan boats, and this reminds me so much of a swan boat type of situation. So I definitely wanted to do spring swan. I don't know if I'll do the other swans or not. I like them. I don't know. We'll see. I don't currently own the others, so we'll see what happens. But yeah. So I have not gotten a huge start on her. I am using all the called for threads except one, which I'm substituting in one of the kind of, I think there's something, let's see, what is it? I'll find it here in a second. Maybe. I don't have straw hat, Classic Work straw hat, and I didn't feel like trying to wait until such time when I could get it. So I am moving ahead, and this is what I have done. That's 2 or 3 partial days, a couple hours each of working on that. Life's been busy, but there she is. Hopefully next time you see her, she will look like an actual swan. Okay, so those are the 2 new starts for this year. Oh, and I must tell you, the Mirabilia fabric, I'm going to have to link down below to tell you what fabric that was, because it escapes me at this moment. I thought I had it memorized, but I don't. And this fabric was part of my haul. Oops, let's get it going the right way. Of my haul this month, and it is 18 count Jasper by Picture This Plus. Trying to put everything in order on the, I already talked about that pile, so that I can easily put stuff away when we're done. All right, my finish is by Primrose Cottage. If you've been around for a while, and I thank you for coming back, by the way, if you have been, or if you're new, I am very much into patriotic stitching, and this was the small that I had chosen for this month, for January, and it is the patriotic, hold on please, 4th of July round by Primrose Cottage. And this fabric is a scrap of something I used last year for my floral sampler motif piece. And I'll try to look that up for you. I think it's something like, it's not parchment, it's too dark to be parchment, but I don't really remember, sorry. And I really enjoyed stitching on this. The colors I chose were just random red, white, and blues from my stash. And that was, I worked on that a couple of evenings in January. My haul for next month will include a finishing piece that I have ordered for this, which I'm excited to get. Okay, that is my finish. For plans, I am going to, so I mentioned the WhipGo. I had intended to do WhipGo very much like I did last year, but I do find that I am a person who I like to see things either with a lot of progress on them or done. And some people who know me, sisters who might be watching this, will say, oh, she flits from one thing to another, which I do, unless it's something I really am in love with, and then I stick with it. So I'm only going to choose 2 big projects for my goals for this month. And then I will do a small. If I have time, I'll do more smalls. The 2 big projects that I'm going to work on this month are, I need to finish as much as possible, if not completely finish, the watercolor sea turtle that I have shown y'all before. I'm going to show you a picture of it here. This is a design that I got on Etsy. It is by Laser Arts Designs, and it was a 2023 release of theirs. And it's a lot of fun, and I was really stuck in the beginning part of the shell for a long, long time. And now I have finished this flipper. I don't know if that's the real term for it, but I finished that flipper, and most of this flipper I still have the very tip down here, and I'm starting to work underneath here. This crest or crown of the turtle shell is done, and I will be moving backwards as we go. I think the head might be last. I don't know. We'll see. But this is for my sister Barbara, and her birthday is March 1st. And I really want to be able to send this to her, if not before then right around that time, and say, your birthday's on the way. So that's watercolor sea turtle. And do I have a picture of it? When I was working on it, let me see here. I recently posted on Facebook. Oh, I actually have done the head. I forgot. I haven't looked at this for about 4 or 5 days. Sometimes my memory is not that great. So that's how far I've gotten, and that's now I have moved over, and I'm now working in this area over here. So this is him. Aren't you glad I showed you the picture? Because you can't even tell what it really is. And see, here's down here, here's the very last part of the tail. And you may notice I had to frog. Not turtle, I had to frog. Yeah, I was working on it too late one night, and so I had to rip it out. And so this is the back portion of him. See, it's sloping down. Okay, so that's Mr. Sea Turtle. And that, I'm really gonna focus on getting that done this month in February. May not be able to work on anything else, but that's okay. That is okay. And these, by the way, are the colors of the floss, which I have shown before, but they're so fabulous that why would you not want to show them again? The way that light is situated, I keep putting a shadow over my face. Please forgive me. I'm not a professional videographer, can you tell? Mm-hmm. So that's Mr. Sea Turtle. Then if I get him done, I want to work on Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. I have started this. I was kind of going pretty well when I started it, but then I ran into a little snag. And that is that this fabric is not a good color for any shade of white that I have been able to come up with. And so a lot of the design is not showing up. And I'll show you the cover here in a second. But you can hardly even see that there's white in around here. There's white around this. There are little white doodads here and there. I mean, it's really hard to see. So I think I've decided that I am going to substitute a very pale yellow instead of white. And I happen to have, I don't know what I was going to use this for, but I have several skeins of buttermilk by the Simply Shaker buttermilk, and it's really beautiful. Now, this looks very dark in this light, but that, I think, because the light is shining on it so brightly. My light's pretty close here, as you can see by the shadow. And I think one strand, I'm stitching 1/1, and this is, I think it's 18 count. I don't think it's 20. I kind of wish it was. It wouldn't be so big if it was. But one strand, I don't think will show up that bright, but it will be bright enough that you can see that there are actually stitches there. So I'm going to substitute that. I have not worked on this for quite a while because I was stymied by that. So I have not made any further progress than when I showed it a few Flosstubes ago. I have some of the alphabet done. That's the first kind of motif that's done. I have the whole outline of the border done, so that I have a framework for my border. I was kind of nervous doing that. Some people don't like to do that because they think that it's not going to match up right, but I decided to go for it. And except for one small place where I had to kind of frog a little bit, and it's a little bit lumpy looking, it worked pretty well. So since I'm hoping to do a lot of my patriotic projects this year, I want to spend more time with that piece, which is Land That I Love, as I said, by Teresa Kogut. And you see, I'm just right up in here. Ooh, there's a long way to go, especially these big, you know what, houses. Ooh my. But I love it, and I look forward to one day when it's up on my walls. And I think it would probably be something that I put somewhere where I can keep it up year-round. I like it that much. Unless something comes along that is so fabulous that I have to find a space for it. But that's Land That I Love. And that fabric that piece is on is kind of, this looks gray, but it's because the light is washing it out. It's a bluish gray, greenish gray. Can you see? I don't think you can. My light is too bright. And I was afraid it was going to be too dark in here because right now the sun is straight, well, as straight overhead as it gets this time of year. And that fabric is 18 count Atomic Ranch Freeze, F-R-I-E-Z-E. And I started that on January 5th of 25. So, and that's all the further I am. These are the flosses. Of course, I'm replacing this white because even that brighter white did not show up. You see it's kind of rusty reds rather than bright reds. Okay, so assuming I finish Mr. Sea Turtle, that will be the other big project that I work on in February. Now, for the smalls that I have options. I should finish the Spring Swan. That's the first option. And then I have a number of other smalls that I could choose from if I have that much time. So, here are, I do know grammar, I really do. Some of my options. We have the Spring Snippets by Little Robin Designs. Let's see if I can hold this there. I hope that glare is better. Love those. And I have pulled threads for them. I'm not going to do them in these exact colors. I'm going to do them in kind of a pinkish, kind of towards purplish color, and then a purple. And I like purple, so that I think is what, actually I do think I decided to stick with a green. Yes, I did. I am going to stick with a green that matches well with my purplish pinkish purple. So that's one option. Another option, I've had these for ages, the spring baskets by Hands On Design. That's another option. I like the quilted look to those. By the way, I did finish a quilt that I've been working on for 3 years. This month I actually stitched the binding on, and it's on my bed right now. I do quilting. I do lots of things, lots of crazy things. Yeah, here's a picture of the quilt that I just finished, and if I could hold it still, I bet you could see it. Pineapple quilt. It was paper pieced, and I worked on it on and off for about 2.5, 3 years, and just got the binding on it so that it's on the bed. It is very heavy. I had it quilted at a store a couple towns over, and the store is called Must Love Fabric. She's a very good quilter. I really like her, but I think she put warm and natural in this, which is something I don't normally use, especially when living in Texas. I mean, yeah, it's been cold this week. You know, the world's been cold this week, figuratively and naturally. But it is heavy. You get under this quilt and you get snuggled down in there and you don't move again until your alarm goes off. So anyway, that's the quilt that I just finished. Sorry, I digress. So those are spring baskets. I also have the winter baskets, but you know, having gone through the cold, I'm kind of over winter right now. Luckily in Texas, we don't have long winters, but when we get them, they're often very cold and not very much fun. So I think this is the winter baskets, which are pretty. I'm not sure why they're called baskets. Maybe because they're displayed in a basket. I don't know. I don't know why they are called baskets, but I also have from Hands On Design, I have Ladybug Picnic I could work on. That would be very bright and cheery if I need that. And I have pink fabric for it. And I believe I checked and I have all the floss for it. So that's a very good possibility. Besides which, my mom always used a ladybug as kind of her logo when she was doing crafting stuff. I must have just pulled out my Hands On Design folder out of my Pendaflex file system, because here's another Hands On Design. This is Gather Butterflies Gathering Rounds. And paddles like this are what I have ordered for the 4th of July round that I finished from Primrose. So I will be doing a number of things on this. I think these are adorable. I can see these hanging up all around my house. And I have one or two other of these patterns. I don't have them all, but I have a couple others. And I also have, if I get an itch to do patriotic smalls, I have the Little Robin Little Liberties, which I adore. I think I have mentioned before, my master's is in U.S. history, and I'm very into American history, particularly the Revolutionary War period, because when I was doing genealogy research, I did find documentation about an ancestor that he had been rumored in our family lore to have been a soldier in the war, but turns out not only was he a soldier, he was one of Washington's bodyguards, and he served practically the entire length of the war, which was very rare. And his name is Michael Seckler, and Michael fascinates me. He started out as 13, 14 years old. Yeah. Okay, if none of those things appeals, and I think I need something springy, I have a number of With Thy Needle and Thread designs by Brenda Gervais, and I dearly love them all, especially because I think I've told you all before, I love me some rabbits. This is Peter and Peep. This is Spring Trio. And of course, I'd start with this one. My sister-in-law likes tulips. That one reminded me of her. I'm not crazy about the third one. We'll see if I get around to doing that one. But if you do two, you really should do three. These two are my favorites. This is Welcome Spring. Growing up in Iowa, robins, we always looked for them in the spring. I never lived anywhere. I never lived on a farm or anything, even though I'm from Iowa. I always lived in a university town. So I never really lived around sheepies, but they are adorable. So what's not to love? So there's Welcome Spring. That's a possibility. And of all of those that I showed, probably the number one that I would work on is Easter Parade. Let's see if I can get this without the... I really should take it out of the packaging. There. Oh, there you go. I mean, she's amazing. She's just amazing. I'm not a designer. I don't think I could ever be a designer. When I did quilts, I didn't design quilts. I can execute them well, but can't design to save my life. Okay, before I get into the main topic that I wanted to discuss today, I am going to show you my haul real quick. Since I'm in a springy mood, I decided that I needed to enhance my spring fabric choices. Well, first of all, I got Sweetheart Pears. You know, I've got the Christmas pears fit, well, I've got them stitched. I need to finish them. But I figured, you know, if I'm going to be finishing pears, why not have several to finish at once? So there's Sweetheart Pears. I got that. And I picked up, I think these are all going to be 18 count. And this is Fiber on a Whim Peony. I guess some people in some parts of the country pronounce it Peony. And that's one thing that I'll not fight with anybody about. You pronounce it any way you want. It's still really pretty. Growing up, we pronounced it Peony. Love that. I mean, oh. So that's for my sweetheart Pears. I picked up, as I mentioned before, the fabric that the Spring Swan is on was part of this month's haul. I also picked up Fiber on a Whim 18 count Lagoon, which, no, it's very green. It's not blue like that. Maybe if I, no, it's very green. I mean, yeah, there's a blue undertone to it, but it's green. Maybe I'll get a better light one of these days. This is Fiber on a Whim Peridot. Again, this is a green. Oh, there. See in there? That gives you the best idea of what the color's like. This is 18 count, picture this plus Heroic. And I got it for patriotic stitching because as you can see, there's splashes of blue and red throughout it. I saw this on somebody else's Flosstube, but I apologize, I don't remember where. But as soon as I saw it, I actually paused watching it and went to 1, 2, 3 Stitch and put this in my cart. I think that's going to be fabulous. Kind of wish I had that when I was starting. Sorry, I just was thinking, do I want to restart Land That I Love and put it on this? I mean, it's not even a quarter of the way done yet. Friends, that's a possibility. This is actually something that is not new. This I had accidentally pulled out of my stash. This is Grog by Beez Stitch Me. It's a brownish color. Why did I pull that out? Oh, I want to start Maggie May one of these days. I am like really late to the party on Maggie May, and I was thinking about that, but I actually think I'm going to stitch her on vellum, which is, you know, kind of a tannish color, and again, light is washing it out. Let's see, how far can I hold this? See, so it's kind of, you know, not quite a manila folder color. And this is also, okay, this is 14 count Zephyr. All right, that's also from Stash. That's not a new purchase, sorry. I was looking for something for the spring projects. That's Zephyr by Picture This Plus 14. And this is Picture This Plus Feldspar, which this is really cool. See the areas of kind of, well, it looks gray here, but it's got more of a bluish tint to it. And then the, yeah, lighter areas and kind of a lavender-ish. I stuttered as a child, so what can I tell you? Lavender-ish. Feldspar. Picture This Plus. And Picture This Plus was on sale, can you tell? 18 count mint. Again, looking a little more blue than green, but, and 18 count Cherub. which I'm pretty sure that one of Brenda Gervais' pieces is going to end up on that. Maybe two, if I can position them correctly. I only bought an eighth of a yard, so again, trying not to spend tons of money at once. So I would normally always buy a half a yard, so I had some left over. But these days, I'll get what I can get and feel good about. Okay, two other items from haul. This little thread keeper with the, what's it called, Celebrate? I think it's called Celebrate, or Celebration, maybe. That came out this past summer. I have the pattern. I now have the fabric. I think I have all the floss. I have to double check on that. That will be, she's a big girl, and that will be one of my monthly focus pieces coming up real soon. As soon as I have to double check my floss. But isn't this cool? This is a lucite? I'm not sure. I saw this on Fabric Paper Scissor Flosstube. Catherine and Julie, mother and daughter. I really like them. I find them very entertaining. Julie is a fabulous stitch woman, and Catherine really thinks outside of the box for us old folks. She's younger. She sees things from that perspective, and so I really like watching her and seeing the things that she comes up with. And she has a small business that she does all kinds of things from, and this I got from her website, which I will link below. And the final thing that I picked up, I didn't pick it up, I had it sent to me, and it took me a while to find it, actually. Again, I don't remember which floss tube I saw it on, but this is the Ultimate Sampler Motif Source Book by Brenda Keys. And I thought it would be really fun to go through there and find some motifs to stitch. I have picked a word for the year. I'm not too sure I'm going to keep it because recent events have really put it to the test. But if I do stitch it, I'm going to do a berry basket. Somewhere I thought I saw a picture of it. I guess I just saw the graph. Can't show that. But I thought that that would be an excellent reference piece to have. Now, I found it at Farm Girl website. Colorado Cross Stitcher had it at one time, but it was out. It is not available on Amazon. So you have to kind of hunt around for it if you're interested. And inside that cover, which I'm not too sure how this got in there, but there's another Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread piece. It's more adorable stuff, not the springy stuff, the patriotic. Love that. After I do one of her spring ones, I might have to do that one next. Drool. Okay. I've made reference during the course of this video about the state of the world, and if you're at all like me, it's been a really difficult couple of weeks here recently, and thank goodness for cross stitch, because I think I might have, really lost my mind. Other forms of social media that I do, particularly, Facebook. I tend to say exactly what I think on there. So if y'all don't like a certain language, don't go there. Just ignore it. But if you, I try to make sure that I'm really up on what's happening and all of the machinations. Is that how you say it? Machinations? I don't know. That are being undertaken in the name of the United States. I post things quite frequently. So, but to get away from that, I was seriously searching for things that would help me. And because this has helped so much, I decided to share it with you. I found this website. The woman, the stitching that she does is not cross stitch. She does shisheko stitching. It's a Japanese form of, I guess it's, some people use it for quilting, but I don't think it's through multiple layers. I don't know. I respect the art form, not particularly appeal to me, but I love this woman's philosophy, and I'm going to link her website below. It is called, I think it's called Mindful Stitching, something like that. I'll link it below, you'll see it. And she said, the first thing that she said is the world can be heavy, but you don't have to carry it alone. And that's on Catherine from Floss, Paper, Scissor, their video that came out yesterday. When she started out, she said, we are well, but we are not okay. I thought that was very appropriate. So this woman broke down 10 things about stitching. She refers to it as sewing because of the type of needlework that she does. I changed all the word to stitching for my purposes. But she breaks down 10 things that are really important for people who need to deal with things that they're feeling very intensely and what they can do about it. So she focuses on her sewing, and the first one that she mentioned was active meditation, that when you are stitching something, sewing something, using your hands to create something, it creates an active meditation. In other words, you're not just sitting silently somewhere. You're not just, trying to calm down. You're not trying to breathe deeply. I mean, you may be doing all those things, although hopefully if you're stitching, you're not closing your eyes. But they call it active meditation. And I've taught a lot about quilt history, specifically as it relates to American history. And one of the things that I've talked about in the design process, evaluating designs, I don't do designing myself, but in evaluating design and what makes a design pleasing is the sense of repetition, that within any one piece, repetition is important because repetition is a key component to relaxing. Think about when you have small children and you read a story to them. The first thing they say, read it again, read it again, read it again. They love to have the repetition because it is a component of relaxing. It's comforting. And so in stitching, that repetition, it's what helps you work through things. This one says, when stitching, meditation and mindfulness are the side product, but not the goal. Yet we can still reap the same benefits. So you're stitching, you may not say, oh, I'm going to meditate. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to stitch. But it's a form of meditation. She says one of the important aspects of it is the art of letting go. When you pick a project, that you're working on, and you have expectations of how it's going to go, and those expectations suddenly get up against a wall, something happens, you miss stitches, you miscount, whatever, you accidentally jump lines, those things are bound to happen. And so you have to get yourself to the place where you can let it go, where it doesn't add to your distress and your dismay, and figure out what you're going to do to fix it. Letting go means surrendering control. It means that there are going to be outcomes that you can't predict, which I think is really important to think about. But sometimes in those places, when you learn to let go, that's where the magic happens. That's her phrase, and I adore it. That's where the magic happens, when you let go and are able to look at it differently. Stitching helps you improve your focus and your concentration. And for those of us who are of a certain age, who sometimes have trouble remembering things, or sometimes, will wander off and, think about something else when you're supposed to be filming a Flosstube, for example. Hand stitching helps to focus us on a single task. And by doing that, you're improving your concentration. And the more you build that skill, the better it can be applied to all aspects of your life. If you have an ability to concentrate, you are fostering faster comprehension. The better focus helps you improve memory, and it enables us to ignore meaninglessness and irrelevant thoughts. And I have been thinking about a lot of what's been happening in the past couple of weeks, and what does it really mean? What is the underlying level of what is happening? How do I look at that and say, okay, here's what it really means. Here's what's really happening. And how do I deal with that? And she says, improved focus can assist with maintaining a healthy brain as we age. That spoke to me. So because of the fact that things happen and we have to learn to let go, we also have to learn how to improvise. So you may have a plan with your stitching, and then something happens, and like with that land that I love, is that the name of it? The Teresa Coat piece where the white doesn't show up. I haven't touched it for months because I was stymied. I was, how am I going to fix it? So I'm going to improvise. I'm going to see about replacing all that white with a very pale yellow and see how it looks. Possible, I might even switch the fabric, but we'll see about that. So the other thing about being able to adjust means that you're learning to think outside the box. You don't let yourself be controlled by rules that may not apply to what you want to stitch, or may not, if I heard somebody say the other day on one of their Flosstubes, okay, so Christmas is over, but I still kind of feel like I want to stitch Christmas. If you should stitch what you want to stitch. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. It doesn't matter if it's something crazy that people are going to look at and say, well, really, that's odd. If you want to stitch it, you should stitch it. You have that right. That's a right that nobody's been able to take away from us. The right to choose how we spend our creative energy. Solving problems by working through those roadblocks builds self-esteem. When you are able to stitch something and you can look at it and say, look what I did. And one reason that we do Flosstube is so that we can share with other people how happy our stitching makes us, especially if we finish a piece that we think it's been done well. We want to share that with people. We have self-confidence. We want to say, here, look what I did. Now show me what you did. And that's why we go in and we look at all these whip parades that everybody's putting up. Because building self-esteem individually is vital, and as a community, it's vital. When you have self-esteem, you can put yourself out there and you can be part of the wider community. And that to me is the best thing about Flosstube, is the community that it has. Sometimes we have to work on time management, and the problem with time management is not time management, it's we tend to be overcritical of ourselves and come down on ourselves and say, oh, I failed to do this, I failed to do that, I had this long list of stuff to do, I had 4 big projects I wanted to touch last month, I only got to 2 of them, Don't put yourself down, because I would just say, yep, I recognize that, and I'm going to figure out how to spend my time either more wisely or adjust what I'm planning to do. And that's what I've done this month. Instead of 4 big projects, I'm going to focus on 2. Primarily 1, with 1 as a backup. Good time management allows you to accomplish more in a shorter period of time. It lowers your stress and helps you focus, which lends to more success. That feeling of a sense of accomplishment that I spoke about, the thing about feeling a sense of accomplishment when you're doing something creative, it gives you that rush, that dopamine hit. I've tried to explain it to a lot of people who don't craft, and if they don't do it and haven't ever experienced it, they don't get it. But as stitchers, hopefully you have experienced that. I wish that for you, that you were able to experience that. And then by experiencing that, you want to keep on, you want to see what else you can achieve. Maybe you're going to push yourself with the next project. You're going to say, look, I accomplished this, now I can do this. So when you feel accomplished, you're not only happy and satisfied, but your creative juices are stirred up, and you're more interested in seeing what you can do. So she says that the best thing about stitching is being part of a community. And I don't know if that, for me, frankly, is the best thing, but it's darn close. Because I like to stitch in solitude a lot. There are times when I stitch with people around and the TV's on, or I have music playing, or I'm listening to a book, or, there's other things impacting me while I stitch. But there are a lot of times I can be a night owl if events allow me to be. And I like to stitch really late at night, 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, in silence. No sounds, except maybe one of the dogs kind of snoring, but in silence, because it's in that space that I personally get the most satisfaction from what I'm doing. Do I love to go to a good retreat where there are lots of peeps? Yes, I do. Got one coming up in April. It's only February, I can hardly wait. But that is a really important part of what we're doing, that sense of community. That's why Flosstube exists. Back during the P area in 2020, couldn't get together with people, and so Flosstube was our way of reaching out and touching each other and seeing what you were doing and communicating and sharing all of that. And we still use this medium, and it's a fabulous tool. It's absolutely fabulous. So as you're working through these projects, and getting the sense of accomplishment, you're also building on your self-discipline. And it helps you to stay motivated, and seeing what other people are doing helps you stay motivated. It's all part of the same wheel. If one of the spokes breaks, it kind of stops. So it's all part of the same thing. And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on is, if you find something, cross stitch, beading, quilting, painting, whatever your creative outlet is that you find that gives you that sense of accomplishment, that sense of active meditation, I encourage you to stick with it, to explore it, to see if there are other avenues where you can use it, to figure out what you need to do to really make it work for you in many areas of your life, not just one area of your life or two. It's something that I feel is vitally needed right now. And that's my soapbox for this month. I'm going to get off of it now. I hope that you've stuck with me for that. I found this woman's information really insightful. And I'm going to link her, I think it's a blog that I found because I was thinking about how stitching is meditation for me. And so I was searching for things under that search title. And I'm going to link her below in case you found any of this interesting and want to read her further. Of course, I abbreviated everything that she wrote and boiled, I don't know how many pages, down to notes on a couple of pages. So anyway, I wanted to put it out there for you and see if you would like to follow it up. You can, if you got anything from my sharing that, I would really like to hear about it in the comments. I never thought that I would share something like that on Flosstube. I thought it was just going to all be straight stitching, which usually it will be. Usually that's what I get out of Flosstube when I watch other Flosstubes. But occasionally, every once in a while, somebody will kind of throw in a, hey, did you think about this? Or here's this. I remember the first time that I ever heard Jackie at Comfort Stitching, and the way that she presents her information, and actually did a guided meditation at the end of one of her Flosstubes, maybe more than that, but I remember one specifically. I really valued that. I didn't go back and watch it another time, but the day that I watched that, it was really, really hit home. So if any of what I shared today, whether it was my little synopsis of this thoughts about creativity as meditation, or any of the stitching that I'm doing or planning, or any questions that you have, where did you get this? What did you say about that? Please feel free to comment. I like reading people's comments. I hope that, like I said, I hope that you do like and subscribe. I hope that you share my information with other people. The more you share my information with other people, the more I learn about other places to investigate myself. So it's kind of a selfish request. But commenting helps my channel in that the more comments there are, the higher YouTube puts it in the ranking of what gets automatically put into somebody's feed. And that means that, again, I'm getting exposed to other people who then I can be exposed to and share with and see what it is that they're doing. What are they up to? What's happening in their world? Okay, y'all. Be well. Take care of each other. And I hope to be back here before the end of February with a finished sea turtle to show you. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.